it is better for them, rather it is worse for them. Their necks will be encircled by what they withheld on the day of resurrection. And Allah belongs the heritage of heavens and the earth. And Allah is well accounted with all that you do. Organizations that cater for zakat in Nigeria. Here and Hereafter Zakat Foundation, H&H Investment Club, Al-Habibia Zakat Foundation, Al-Habibia Islamic Society at Abuja, Imam Malik Zakat and Work Foundation, Rivers, Sokoto State Zakat and Endowment Commission, SOZECOM, Sokoto, Al-Hayat Zakat and Sadaqah Foundation, Ogun. After the prayer, zakat or the alms giving is the most important pillar of Islam. The Quran makes the importance of zakat abundantly clear. Although in popular imagination, the fasting is ranked after the prayer because it is usually so listed. On these two great pillars, salat and prayer, rest on the edifice of Islam. If they are demolished, Islam can hardly survive. People who believed in God are never exempted from them. In this particular place, when they said on these two great pillars, salat and zakat, rest on the edifice of Islam. For example, these are the 5 pillars of Islam. Now, if one falls and the other falls, then Islam can hardly survive. Thank you.
Like, which font size did you use?
I used for the writing, I used 18, but some of the top headings, it depends on the heading. So some of them I used 20, some of them 22. But to keep the space, I used 18 for the writing. So that other, I would also keep more points in the PowerPoint. That's why the handwriting was 18.
Inshallah, we shall be calling another notable pupil of ours. That is an handsome boy, Fawaz, to come and do his presentation. It's Fawaz Tiami. Fawaz Tiami, can you come on board?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Fawaz Tiami, and here I'll be defending my topic, successful Islamic home. Here are my synopsis. I'll be taking you through what is an ideal Islamic home, what are the characteristics of a successful Islamic home, what are the foundations of a successful Islamic home, practical tips of building a successful Islamic home, then finally, since I've taken you through my synopsis, let's go to the introduction. A home is a place of rest, comfort, and a manifestation of the divine mercy upon mankind, wherein man relishes his privacy and affection, and wherein a man shelters himself from cold and warms himself from heat and warms himself from cold. His home conceals him from people's eyes and shields him from enemies. We will all continue to build this home to the end of time. But what kind of home do we hail from or intend to build? This is the crux of the presentation. What is an ideal Islamic home? An ideal Islamic home is the strong building block of a society that adheres to the way of life that Allah ordained for mankind. In Islam, the family is a divine system, a divine lifestyle, part of the prophetic guidance and aspect of human behavior. Life is an ideal Islamic home. It It is an embodiment of all inclusive concept of worship and a continuous educational process. What are the characteristics of a successful Islamic home? Righteousness of the spouses. A successful Islamic home is based on the righteousness of the spouses, which it is the responsibility of a righteous man to choose a righteous wife, or a righteous wife to choose a righteous man, which they are the main system of the family. 2. It is founded on faith. A successful Islamic home must be totally Muslim, that they respond to all Allah's, that they pray for all people, they give donations, and they help the poor. It is devoted to prayer. A successful Islamic home must be devoted to prayer. They must pray their 5 daily salat every day, and they must always do their askar, du'as, and all daily prayers, and all nawafils. Number 4, remembrance of Allah and obedience to Him. Every day, a successful Islamic home, the family must always remember Allah and be guided and obey all His instructions. The askar, they can do it every day, call His names, pray to Him, ask Him for forgiveness, to clear all their sins. They can call His name as many times they want. Then finally, seeking knowledge and acting upon it. All Muslims can seek knowledge from Allah, but they need to act upon it. Every time, anytime they seek knowledge, they must always also try to seek knowledge from the Quran as well. They can pray to Allah, they can ask Allah for knowledge. The foundation of a successful Islamic home. And the cow ibadah. Marriage is an act of worship. The couple should understand from day one that marriage is an act of worship. It is not just an act of worship, but also half of religion. Our Lord says in Surah Al-Dhariyat, verse 56, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And I, Allah, created not the jinns and humans except they should worship me alone. Iman. Iman here means belief, reward system. Couples should know certainly that there is a reward for whatever they do, whatever they see. Allah is one who judges between His creation with justice and does no injustice to anyone. The path of His goodness will be made smooth for those who believe in reward system, while for those who disbelieve in it, the path of evil will be made smooth for them. Allah says in Surah Al-Layl, verse 5 to 10, as for him who gives in charity and keeps his duty to Allah, and believes in Al-Husna, in the reward, we will make smooth for him the path of ease. Taqwa, piety. Al-Ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu defines taqwa as fearing Allah, adhering to His commandments, Al-Quran, being content with what He provides one with, and getting ready for the day of judgment. Allah said in Surah Al-Imran, verse 102, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu taqula Allah خطه ولا تموتن إلا أنتم Muslimun. O you who believe, fear Allah by doing all that He has ordered and by abstaining from all that He has forbidden. As He should be feared, obey Him, be thankful to Him and remember Him always, and die not except in the state of Islam as Muslim, with complete submission to Allah. Al-Ikhlasun Niyah, sincerity of intention. This means doing everything in this life for the sake of Allah. Intentions come before actions. Allah only rewards people who do things for His sake. He says in Quran chapter 6 verse 162, Qul inna salati wa nusuki wa mamati lillahi rabbil alamin. Say, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, verily my salat, prayer, my sacrifice, my living and my dying are for Allah, the Lord of the alamin, mankind, jinn and all that existed. Practical tips for building a successful Islamic home. Making a good choice when choosing a wife. The righteous man and the righteous woman together will be the righteous home. Secondly, striving to guide one wife. If one wife is righteous, this is a blessing indeed, and this is from the bounty of Allah. If she is not that righteous, then it is the duty of the head of the household to strive to guide her. And lastly, making the home a place for the remembrance of Allah. Anytime it's time for prayer, you can read Quran, you can do azkar after prayer to make the house a remembrance, so that anytime you come near the house, you can know that, oh, this is the place where I worshipped Allah, I believed in Him, and so on. Make your home as a place of worship. The companions, may Allah be pleased with them, used to be keen to pray at home apart from the obligatory salat. Spiritual training for the members of the household. For example, giving charity, sunnah fasting, qiyamul layl, paying attention to azkar, sunnah du'as that have to do with the home, azkar for entering the home and leaving the home, using siwak, chewing stick. When the messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, entered his house, the first thing he will do will use siwak. That means anytime you can use chewing stick before salat. You can chew it, you can use it to cleanse, you can use it to cleanse your mouth before doing salat. Continuously reciting Surah Al-Baqarah in the house to ward off the shaitan. The messengers of Allah, peace be upon him, said, do not make your house into graves. The shaitan flees from a house in which Surah Al-Baqarah is recited. This is my conclusion. Our homes are trust, our wives are trust therein, and our sons and daughters are a trust therein. And we shall be held accountable before Allah, the Exalted, for everything that everything that happened in our homes, and for whomever He placed under our care and guardianship. He shall ask for every guardian about those under His care, as whether He fulfilled their due right over Him, or fell short in that. O Allah, preserve the homes of Muslims and help us build them on the foundation that You love and please with. Amen.
كبروا الله
فواز تعملوا بارك الله فيك. May Allah bless you. May Allah reward the parents and the teachers with goodness in this life and thereafter. Barakallahu feek. I want to ask you, how would you describe the Islamic homes in the society at the moment? With what you have seen so far, how can you describe the Islamic homes?
The Islamic home, the place where a family stays and worships Allah, and they do askar. But mostly in places like apartments, you have neighbors that are also Christians. So when you get home, like in the house, you can either go to a room, a separate room, hide the Quran, and be reading silently so that you can't disturb your neighbors. Anytime they come to ask you for something, anytime they come for a visit, you can give them something like fruits or juice or anything for gift for visiting. And so they can also return the gift. They can also return the gift back to you by in another way.
Okay, so can you say the Islamic homes, the homes you've seen and you've known so far are really Islamic homes? Can you say that?
Yes, because every day they do all the ones I've seen. They do their daily salah, they do askars after prayer, they read Quran, and so on.
And then, did you do this project yourself, or did you type it yourself, or somebody assisted you?
I typed it by myself, but my teacher made some changes so that I could understand it more, so that I can put more tips for everybody here to understand what I'm doing.
Takbir. It's not easy. Barakallahu feek. May Allah continue to bless you and make you the goodness of your parents. So inshallah we shall go some time. Fatima, it will be inshallah just eat the name of it, okay? Now, the person to be called now is Fatima or Motosho.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Fatima Motisha, and today I'm going to be talking to you the project topic titled Dua, the weapon of the believers. On the topic Dua, I'm going to be talking about the concept of Dua, the two types of Dua, the benefits of making Dua, tips on making our Dua accepted, special moments, situations, and places of acceptance of Dua, and I'll also be giving you some prayers from Quran and Sunnah. The entire creation is in dire need of Allah. He subhanahu wa ta'ala is absolutely free and independent of his creation and has no need of them. Supplicating, invoking, and asking Allah is an obligation that Allah has imposed upon us. Linguistically, the word dua is a verbal noun, which in Arabic means masdar. Technically, various scholars have defined dua in similar terms. Like Al-Khattabi said, the meaning of dua is the servant asking his Lord for his help and his indeed support. Its essence is that a person shows his neediness to Allah and frees himself from any power and ability to change any matter by himself. Even Al-Khayyim defined it as asking what is of benefit to a person and asking the removal of what is harming him, or asking the repelling of it before it afflicts you. Now let me tell you about the two types of dua. When one examines the text of Quran and Sunnah, one finds out that there are two types of dua mentioned. The first one is dua al-masala, which in English means the dua of asking. This is when a person asks to be given something that is of benefit to him, or asks that some harm be removed from him. For example, he says, "Oh Allah, please grant me the best in this world and in the hereafter." The second type of dua is dua al-ibadah, which in English means the dua of worship. This is a very broad concept for every single act of worship, includes in its in type of dua. Every praise that a person pronounces, every prayer that he performs, is done with an instinct plea and cry that emanates from the heart of every believer. "Oh Allah, I am doing this act of worship because you are my Lord and my God. Oh Allah, accept this as an act from me, as an act of worship." This is a type of dua al-ibadah we can do as a Muslim. It's just that we have to make sure that we are always praising Allah before we make any dua. Now, let me tell you the benefits of making our dua. Dua is the only act. Dua is the only cause of Allah's concern for us. This means that if we make dua in our everyday life, it is dua that gives us a close connection to Allah. Because when we make dua, Allah is ready to answer our prayer and has His full attention upon us. Dua is a sign of humility. When you are making your dua, you don't just frown and make dua anyhow as if it is a joke. You have to be humble while making dua and always make sure that you are always positive that Allah will answer your prayer. Dua reveals Allah's anger. If Allah is angry at us, and if you make dua, it can calm Allah's nerves down, because when we make dua, Allah is ready to answer. So when you keep on making dua, Allah's anger goes down. Dua is the only act that can change our predestination. As we all know, one of the articles of faith is belief in destiny, belief in Qadr. Anything that has been written down for a person in a bad form, do you know that dua can actually change that thing? When we make dua, for example, if Allah has written down that if this person leaves this house, this person is going to have an accident. But if the person makes dua before leaving the house, he might not even have that accident again. Now, you can see how powerful dua is. The tips on making our dua accepted: we praise Allah before the dua, we face the Qibla, performing wudu, to cry, to expect the best from Allah, to complain only to Allah, acknowledging one's sins, to implore Allah earnestly, to be determined in one's request, to pray quietly, to use the proper names and attributes of Allah. When we want to make dua to Allah, we should try to use His beautiful names. Call Him by His beautiful name. You can say, "Ya Allah, Ya Al-Ghafur, the forgiving. Oh Allah, please forgive me and my family. Ya Allah, Ya Ar-Razak, the provider. Oh Allah, please provide for me and my family." To repeat the dua 3 times. Prayers from Quran and Sunnah. One of the best duas any believer can recite. It asks for good in this world, not forgetting, but to ask for the afterlife, the akhirah. We do this by saying, "Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina azaban nar." Our Lord gives us in this world that which is good, and in the hereafter that which is good, and protects us from the punishment of the fire. You can recite this dua whenever you would like for Allah to accept whatever good you have done. It means that if you recite this dua, it shows that whatever good deed you have done before reciting this dua, you actually mean it. You don't mean that I'm only doing this good deed because someone is going to give me back in return. You have to make sure that we are only doing this good deed for Allah. We do this by saying, "Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas sami'ul alim." Our Lord, accept this from us. Indeed, you are the hearing, the all-knowing. And finally, What has proceeded is merely a glimpse at some of the facts of dua. Dua is a treasure that all people can possess. Yet, so few strive to achieve it. Is a light that one can use to guide oneself into the darkness dilemma that one may be in. It is the wind that lifts the sails of the hope and pushes the forth to one's destination. It is the sword that can use to fight any and every enemy impending one's heart. Dua is your sharpest sword and your strongest weapon. Use it. Thank you.
Allah bless our brother Fatima. Allah reward the parents and the teachers goodness in this life and hereafter. So I want to ask you. For dua ibadah, so can you just emphasize the two conditions for the acceptance of dua
When you want to make your dua, you should at least praise Allah before you make the dua. You show that this dua is coming from your heart and you are feeling that it is only Him that is your God and it is only Him that you expect the best from, and it's only Him that you accept all your dua. So you have to praise Him and always have a positive mind that Allah always answers my prayer.
So that is you directing your dua to Allah. So did anybody assist you in this project?
That helped me to find my preferences because where I got it from. It helped me to research where all the information was.
What about the Bible?
The typing. You have the book of Dua.
Who typed it?
I typed some of them, but it helped me to my wrong.
Takbir. Wow, Jazakumullah khairan. If you allow Fatima to continue to talk, you continue to explain. May Allah continue to keep you safe and blessed. Because of time, I'm going to be calling Rahmat Omoteji. She told me she wants to take her time to relax. It's going to be very, very short, inshallah. Hope you call it that.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hi, I'm Rahma Modeja. Today I will be presenting the project topic Taqwa, recipe for a peaceful life. My synopsis are: what is Taqwa? How can one attain Taqwa? Benefits of having Taqwa. Practical ways of applying Taqwa in our daily life, in our business, in our relationships with people, and in our rendering services. Introduction. Taqwa, piety, has been mentioned in the Holy Quran in more than 60 locations, and the derivatives have been mentioned in more than 190 locations. We hear it mentioned all the time at the beginning of every Jummah prayer. So the question that often arises is, what is Taqwa and how can I attain it? The linguistic meaning of Taqwa is a shield or protective barrier. It is to protect oneself from what angers Allah. Some scholars define Taqwa as placing a protective barrier between yourself and Allah's punishment. Taqwa also means doing that which Allah has enjoyed and avoiding that which Allah has forbidden. How can one attain
your knowledge about Islam by reading the Quran and its meaning, reading the Hadith and the meaning, and listening to lectures, performing obligatory acts of worship, pray your 5 daily salah, fast in the month of Ramadan, pay zakah, and go to Hajj if you can afford it. Abstain from major sins. Avoid sins like lying, backbiting, cheating, or hurting other people. Practice remembrance of Allah. You can remember Allah by doing zikr, calling out Allah's names, and saying Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. Maintain good company. You should always keep company with good people that will have a good impact on you. Make dua and supplication on it. You make dua and supplication and you ask Allah for what you want. Benefits of having taqwa, peace in matters, and whoever fears Allah, He will make for him peace in his matters. Quran 65 verse 4. Unexpected sustenance, and He will provide for him sources he could never imagine. This means Quran 65 verse 3. This means Allah will provide for you from sources you can never imagine. Ability to distinguish truth from falsehood. O you who believe, if you fear Allah, He will grant you criterion to come. Quran 8 verse 29. Allah will make you be able to distinguish truth from falsehood if you fear Him. Tranquility. It is He, Allah, who has sent down tranquility into the hearts of the believers. Quran 48 verse 4. Practical ways of applying taqwa in our daily life, in our business. Applying taqwa principles in business involves conducting business with honesty, fairness, and ethical choices. This means you shouldn't cheat your customers just because you want to do from your business. In our relationship with people, honesty, integrity, forgiveness, kindness, respect, courtesy, generosity, and charity. In our rendering service, professionalism. You should be professional in your business. Fairness. You shouldn't treat anybody differently because of their race, religion, or social status. Quality. Any service you are rendering should have good quality. Accountability. Dedication. You should be dedicated in rendering your services. Transparency. You should be transparent and clear in whatever services you are rendering. Conclusion. In conclusion, taqwa is the fear of Allah, and it is needed for us to live a happy life. Taqwa is the solution to the problems of the world. If the leaders and the followers operate with the fear of Allah, we earn honor with Allah the Exalted on account of taqwa, not family life. We should all try to attain taqwa. May Allah make it easy for us. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
May Allah bless you. And may Allah reward the parents and the teachers for goodness in this life and thereafter. Okay, so this project is taqwa recipe for a blissful life. So I want you to tell me, is this only this life or the hereafter as well?
Well, you should always fear Allah, meaning that you fear Allah in this world and also in the hereafter.
What I'm saying is that if you fear Allah, you will have a blissful life. Right? So the blissful life, is this only this life, or if you fear Allah, you will also have a blissful hereafter?
Yes, we also have a blissful hereafter because inshallah we go to them.
So I want to know, did anybody assist you in typing this or in writing it fully? tell me the font, the theme of the font used? You know it? That is all.
Times Roman.
And the size, the font size.
For the headings, I used, I think 18, and for the write-up, I used 14. For the remaining of the
Atakbir. Jazakumullah khairan. Rahmat. May Allah continue to make you blessed. May He continue to make you a goodness of your parents' eyes. You are indeed wonderful. Now, I shall be calling one of our boys, handsome boys indeed. That's the person of Abdul Malik. Mashallah. Atakbir.
Assalamu alaikum, dear parents and judges. I am Abdul Malik Bashala, and I'll be taking you through a journey of my project topic, Sadaqah. My synopses are: what is Sadaqah, types of Sadaqah, who can give Sadaqah and benefits of Sadaqah, and Sadaqah to Jariyah and its various forms. Introduction. Allah made the life of the world so that it will not work without people fulfilling His Sadaqah. To vital importance, Sadaqah charity is among the commendable practice promoted by the regional of Islam. What is Sadaqah? The term Sadaqah and its plural Sadaqah occurs 13 times in the Quran. Sadaqah comes from the word sincerity, which means truthfulness in realizing declared belief by actions. Al-Qadir, 1999. Sadaqah means worshipping Allah by voluntary giving. It serves as a symbol of the sincerity of faith. Forms of Sadaqah. Making a dua. Making a dua is also Sadaqah. Spreading knowledge. Giving another person knowledge is also Sadaqah. Smiling. Smiling is giving Sadaqah. Helping others. Help. When you help one, you also get Sadaqah. Raising your children. Raising your children to become something better in the future is also Sadaqah. Stopping from evil. Not letting anyone do any evil to anyone is also Sadaqah. Forgiving others. Forgiving someone is also Sadaqah. Visiting the sick. When your friend or someone is sick, visiting them is also Sadaqah. Guiding towards the right path. Guiding somebody or giving them good advice is also Sadaqah. Offering water to drink. Giving somebody water to drink is also Sadaqah. Who can give Sadaqah? Anyone who has the means and is inclined to do so can give Sadaqah. Also, there is no limit of restriction on the form and timing of donation of Sadaqah. Benefits of Sadaqah. Number 1. Sadaqah reaches the hands of Allah before the hands of His worldly recipients. Number 2. It guards its givers well from loss and destruction. Number 3. It repels climate from reaching its giver. Number 4. It makes the giver and the receiver's heart happy. Number 5. It increases the giver's resources in the world. Number 6. It increases the giver's lifespan. Number 7. It hides its giver's shortcoming. Number 8. It makes its givers loved by God and loved by God's creation. Number 9. It attracts supplications of the angels. Number 10. It is a door of paradise. Babu Sadaqah. Various forms of Sadaqah to Jariyah. Number 1. Sponsoring a child or orphan. Number 2. Building a water well. Number 3. Partaking in the building of a mosque, school, or hospital. Number 4. Donating religious materials. Number 5. Educational skills, teaching, spreading
spreading awareness of Islam. My conclusion: Sadaqah is considered as one way of attaining welfare and well-being of mankind. In Islam, thought Sadaqah is a voluntary deed. It is highly recommended in Islam. Thank you.
May Allah bless you. May Allah reward the parents and the teachers for goodness in this life and the hereafter. Sadaqah, what a very beneficial presentation. So I want to ask you. You said making dua is a form of sadaqah, right? In your presentation. So what do you mean by making dua? Is it making dua for yourself or making dua for other people?
Making dua for yourself is great to show you accepted by Allah. While making dua for other people and blessing yourself.
So if you make dua for other people, are you doing sadaqah?
Yes.
Then I want to know, did anybody assist you in writing this or in arranging it? Who typed it? Who typed it? Or you typed it?
كبروا الله.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, moms and dads, and my fellow graduates. I am Ridwan Noah, and today I'm going to be defending my project topic, practical ways to grow imams. Here are my synopsis. What I'm going to be taking you through today. What is Iman? The nature of Iman based on Quran and Hadith references. Factors that increase Iman. Factors that decrease Iman. Practical ways to increase my Iman. Introduction. Every Muslim suffers from depths in their Iman. We all go through the highs and lows of life, and our Iman can often be severely affected by it. Regardless of how religious or pious you see yourself to be, everyone experiences increase and decrease in Iman throughout their lives. What is Iman? Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam explained to Angel Jibril when asked, what is Iman? أن تؤمن بالله والملائكة وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر وتؤمن بالقدر خيره وشره. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, it is that you believe in Allah and His angel and His book and His messengers and in the last day and in faith, both in its good and evil aspects. Bukhari and Muslim. The nature of Iman based on Quranic and Hadith reference. The believers are none other than those whose hearts feel fear when Allah is mentioned. When His ayat are recited to them, they increase them in their Iman, and upon their Lord alone they rely. Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, used to say to his companions, come on, so that we may increase our Iman. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him, used to say, sit with us, so that we may increase in Iman. He used to say in his supplications, oh Allah, increase me in Iman, certainty and understanding. Factors that increase Iman. Learning the beneficent knowledge derived from the Quran, from the book of Allah, and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Reciting the noble Quran and contemplating on it. Knowledge of Allah's most beautiful names and most exalted attributes. 4. To look attentively at the biography of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, pondering over the merits and qualities of the religion of Islam. Factors that decrease in iman. Ignorance. Not knowing about the faith of the Muslim. Headliness. Aversion. Forgetfulness. Committing disobedience and embarking upon sinful deeds. Practical ways to grow iman, going on the right path. 1. Repent frequently for your mistake. Perform salah regularly at the beginning of its prescribed time. 3. Daily Quran recitation. Recite the Quran daily. Engage in dhikr, remembrance of Allah daily as much as possible. Voluntary fasting. In conclusion, we have to always be on guard and make sure our iman does not get corrupted. For a week, iman can turn our life into something that is totally meaningless and purposeless. What is in our hearts will manifest in our tongue, and in turn driving our limbs towards it. So, when your heart is filling with iman, your tongue will also utter words that are pleasing to Allah, and your body will rush to do deeds that please Him. Let us strive to keep a check on the status of our hearts at all times. May Allah increase us all in it through the and other righteous deeds. Amen. Thank you for listening.
So we pray unto Almighty Allah to bless the wine. We pray unto Almighty Allah to reward the parents and the teachers abundantly in this life and hereafter. Practical ways to grow in man. I want to ask you, so if you want to summarize this, I will ask you a question. If you obey Allah, does your iman increase or decrease? And then if you disobey Allah, does your iman increase or decrease?
Takbir. That has been a great presentation from all of us. Inshallah, we shall be having the last presenter for today because of time and the other events that we have. The next presenter is one of our handsome boys as well. That's the person of Jafar Adegbe. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar. My name is Jafar Adegbe, and I'm here to defend my topic, lesson from the life of Prophet Yusuf. Introduction. Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was the beloved son of Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, who also had 11 other sons. Binyamin, who was the youngest, was from the same mother as Prophet Yusuf, while the rest were older half-brothers. Synopsis. Prophet Yusuf as a child. Prophet Yusuf's experience in the palace. Prophet Yusuf's experience in the prison. Prophet Yusuf's experience as a minister, and Prophet Yusuf's reunion with his family. Prophet Yusuf as a child. When Prophet Yusuf was a child, he had a dream that 11 stars, his sun and the moon, bowed down to him. His father, Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, told him he would become a great man in future, and they would bow down to him, and that he should not tell his brothers about it. But Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam told his brothers that they became jealous of him. So they plotted against him. So they told their father that they want to take Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam to the field with them. The father said no at first, but later he allowed them. His brothers took him to the desert, removed his shirt, and slaughtered a sheep and smeared blood all over his shirt. And when they came back home, they said they left him for a short while, and when they came back, he was eaten by a wolf. Here's his shirt. Prophet Yusuf experienced in the palace. Thus, Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam arrived at the slave market. The buyers were all attracted by him because he was a very handsome young man. News of this remarkable youth swept throughout the city. The Aziz, governor of Egypt and chief officer of the king, whose name was Potiphar, offered a price that no one could match. He brought Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam and told his wife Laban that they were adopting him as their son. Prophet Yusuf experienced this. Due to the continued pressure from his wife Laban, the Aziz of Egypt decided to imprison Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam despite his innocence. The reason he gave that was people would forget the actions of his wife while Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam lay in prison, and her dignity would be restored. On the same day that Prophet Yusuf was put in prison, two other men were also in prison. One used to serve the king wine, while the other was the royal cook.
Jaffa, I'm not seeing your face. Try to let me see your face. I want to see your face. So read it. Let me see your face.
Both men have been accused of trying to poison the king. Prophet Yusuf experienced as a minister. The Holy Quran says, the king dreamed that 7 lean cows were eating 7 fat cows, and there were 7 green ears of corn and 7 dry ones. He asked the nobles to tell him the meaning of the dream if they were able to. They replied, it is a confused dream and we do not know the meaning of such dreams. Surah Yusuf 43 to 44. The king was very concerned by the meaning of the dream, even though he thought his wise men over it. Seriously, they could not make any sense of it. The king's dream became a means of liberation of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam from prison. As soon as the wise ever heard about the dream, he was reminded of his time in the prison and the powers of his cellmates. He also remembered that Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam asked him to tell the king of his innocence. He approached the king and got his permission to see Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Prophet Yusuf reunion with his family. When his brothers arrived in Egypt, Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was very pleased to see them. They did not recognize him at all, never expecting that he was alive. Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was disappointed not to see his full brother Binyamin, and he asked his brothers to tell him about themselves. Thank you.
So I want to ask you a question. In your presentation, a very good presentation, you said Prophet Yusuf had a dream and he related the dream to his siblings, his father, his siblings, right? So, and then they became jealous, right? So I want to ask you, what did you learn from that? If you have a dream, a good dream, is it good to go about telling everybody about the dream, or is it good to just keep the dream with you and pray to Allah to actualize it? Which one?
When you keep yourself, I will attend to your mother.
Wow. So you can tell your mom and dad because you trust them, you are sure that they will even assist you with prayer for it to be actualized, but not the general people. Wow. tie this yourself?
I said Shabbat.
You tie this? Can you tell me the team that you use? The first team that you use? You know it?
Size or the name of the key.
The name of the team.
I used time to
Takbir. Alhamdulillah. Now we have come to the end of the presentation. Now we shall be having one or two feedback from the parents.
I want to thank management of the school for the program. Appreciate the teachers for teaching them through. I just want to advise the supervisor for future purposes and whatnot. When you're asking them to do read, please do explain to them in a way that will make them understand the kind of, and it should be a brief that will be self-explanatory. I know some points were lost, especially in Jaffar's presentation, but I'm sure it was because the supervisor directed at the slide called the bullet point. I was just passing by, I saw my daughter was like, this is too bullet point. No, bullet point will put certain thing, otherwise you lost what you have in your project. So please, that is what the supervisor should check out for. Fine, they cannot present everything they have in their work. You have the bullet point. But even the bullet point should be the one that anybody will pick, read, get the message.
That is a beautiful.
There are a lot of things that we do not arrange that just chance-based students. So we should leverage on this and try to encourage them and let them this success, because it's a major success that we have achieved and we have reached. So I would thank you for the and also tell my parents and all of this stuff and all of them.
That is our new allergy. Just arrived with his wife. Barakallahu fikum. May Allah grant you acceptance and make you a source of Jannah for you and your wife. And those that have gone, those that have not gone, those of us that have not gone, may Allah make it an easy task for us. So inshallah, we shall be having a closing dua so that we can move to the event center where we have the main program. You all know the reason why we have put everything together for today. To do the closing dua for us, is on our father, Al-Hajj Sadisun.